Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, and if you're new here, hi, my name is Janelle and I upload new videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. In today's video, I'm super excited. I'm going to be doing the drugstore makeup tag. Thank you, Little Miss, once again for recommending another tag that I was super excited when I saw what the tag was about to do. Don't know exactly who started the tag. The video that I watched was from Jen Phelps, so I'll leave the link to her tag video down below. And I believe she was the one that started it, but if I'm not correct, I will leave like the correct person link down below as well. But I thought the tag was so cool because for me personally, I'm like a sucker for drugstore makeup. So if you guys are too, definitely please keep watching. Before you go anywhere, please don't forget to hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so you can be notified every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday when I upload. Without any more rambling, let's jump into it. I forgot to mention, if you guys are interested in the contact lenses that I'm wearing in today's video, these are the Solidica lenses from lens.me.com in the color ochre. You can use the code Janelle for 10% off of your purchase. The first question from the video, which again, these are the questions I'm getting from Jen Phelps' YouTube channel, so definitely check her out. The first one is, if you could only use one affordable drugstore brand, what would it be? You guys, this is literally probably the hardest question in the entire tag for the simple fact that I literally love drugstore makeup. Like, I have a bunch of high-end makeup, but I always just gravitate more toward my drugstore stuff. I don't know why. Like, I just feel like I find some of the best drugstore gems. So it's like honestly a solid tie between L'Oreal, Maybelline, and Milani. The reason why I want to say L'Oreal though, and why that's the first one that comes to mind, is because L'Oreal is like a conglomerate kind of like for a bunch of other makeup brands. So L'Oreal actually owns Maybelline, they own Urban Decay, they own Lancome, they own NYX, like they own so many brands, and so I just feel like they make high-end makeup but at an affordable cost, and like they know the ins and outs of the high-end makeup, and they're able to kind of get that with drugstore prices for some of their products, if that makes sense. Out of all of them, I just have to say L'Oreal for that fact, and just because like they have so many good items, but Milani does too. So honestly, that's why it's just so hard to answer that question. I'm gonna go with L'Oreal because that was honestly the first one that came to mind. What's the most overrated drugstore affordable brand? I was kind of offended by this question because I don't feel like drugstore definitely gets hype, but I don't feel like it gets as much hype as it deserves. Like, I feel like people think in order to get good makeup, you have to spend a ton of money on it. That's not the case at all. I use high-end makeup, I use drugstore makeup, and some of the products I honestly, like, it doesn't cross my mind whether it's drugstore or high-end. Like, if the product is good, it's good. I guess the most overrated brand that me personally, I have not found a lot of gems from would be NYX. I'm trying to think though. Yeah, I would have to be NYX. Not saying that their products are bad. I just feel like it is really hyped, and their prices I feel like are more up there on the scale of drugstore. Some of their items, not all of them, but some of them are more up there, and some of them, like the quality, I don't know, I feel like it's the same as some other more affordable drugstore prices. But I still really like NYX, but I don't know, some of their products I do think are overrated for the price, so that's why I'm gonna go with them, but I do still really enjoy some of their products. What is your favorite drugstore product under $5? Let me make sure this is under $5 because I don't want to recommend it and then it not be under $5. It is $4.99, so I can recommend it. So my favorite drugstore product for under $5, it is literally $4.99, and it is the Essence Brighten Up Banana Powder. I've talked about this previously on my channel, but I just absolutely love this powder. It's great to use like to set your under eyes whenever you don't want to bake. It's also great to add this, like I could add this right now. I only use like a loose powder to bake my under eyes, but if I wanted my under eyes to be even brighter and just give like a soft just brightness under the eyes without it being too much, I could take like a fluffy brush or a sponge and just like press a little bit more under my eyes. It gives you the perfect amount of brightness without being too much. It has like the perfect soft yellow tint without being too dark of like that banana tone. It's just perfect. I've tried a lot of other banana powders that are like too dark and then it ends up leaving a dark cast. This one's perfect, so lightweight, it doesn't look dry or crepey under the eyes. Can't recommend this product enough. What is a hidden gem from the drugstore that no one talks about? So I actually have neither of these products with me. One of them I actually completely like finished and it was in my product empty this video, and then I threw it out after that. And then the next item, I just don't have it with me. I don't feel like running all the way to where my makeup is to grab it. So I'm going to talk about both of them. The first one is the Milani Conceal and Perfect Concealer. So the Milani Concealer and Perfect Foundation I feel like gets so much love, but the concealer I feel like people just neglect how great it is. And I think that the reason that they do is because a lot of people love like the Tarte Shape Tape type coverage concealers, so they automatically rave about like the Tarte Shape Tape dupe kind of concealers, like the e.l.f. Camo Concealer or the CoverGirl one that's kind of like a dupe for the Tarte Shape Tape. Like I feel like those concealers get love, but the Milani Conceal and Perfect Concealer is like a beautiful lightweight concealer that gives you the perfect amount of coverage without being cakey. It's a beautiful satin finish, super just, it looks skin-like, but it's still gonna conceal your under eye dark circles. And to me, it just performs at such a high-end like quality that I don't know why it doesn't get as much love. It reminds me a lot of the Laura Mercier Flawless Fusion Concealer, but it is literally a fraction of the cost. It's only $8. So that to me is like a hidden gem. Another hidden gem is this Profusion's Blush and Glow palette. So when you look at it, you think like these highlighter tones are just too much, but when you swirl them all together, or even when you use them individually, they're beautiful. This literally is like, it gives you the most wet, just like lit from within highlight finish. It's not chunky or glittery at all, but see like the reflectiveness that it gives you? And like, I don't know why more people don't rave about this. Profusion definitely has a few hidden gems, but this is one of my favorites from them that I feel like nobody ever talks about. All right, so the next question is, what is your favorite drugstore foundation? And if you watch my channel enough, I'm sure you can answer this, but there is a twist because I feel like my skin is slowly changing. So although I do love this foundation, I rave about it, it's not really working for me as much, but I'm still gonna talk about it. And where to go? It's my L'Oreal Infallible Fresh Wear Foundation. I love this. L'Oreal literally makes the best drugstore foundations, hands down. Milani does too, but L'Oreal I feel like has so many of them that perform so well. This literally, to me, honestly, it could be made by NARS or any other high-end reputable brand. I love the coverage that it gives. I love how it doesn't look or feel heavy. It's a nice like demi matte finish. Although right now my skin has been a little bit drier, so what I like to do lately is I'll mix this with my moisturizer or I'll mix it with a more hydrating foundation. Do really like this. Also, have sworn by the L'Oreal True Match Lumi foundation, literally probably since like high school. Like this foundation is stunning. Like when you put it on, you wouldn't think it's from the drugstore. It is just such a beautiful dewy finish that's not like too greasy looking. I absolutely swear by it. What products do you tend to buy more at the drugstore versus high-end? So the products that I tend to buy more at the drugstore versus high-end are like eye pencils and mascaras. Basically any items that I have to throw out frequently because they are going to go bad and they won't last as long. Those are the ones that I like to purchase at the drugstore because I know that I'm not just going to like fork over a bunch of money to have to get rid of it in a couple of months. And not to mention, I just feel like the drugstore really kills it when it comes to great mascaras, especially L'Oreal. I love the L'Oreal Bambi Lash Mascara, Voluminous, the Gold Mascara. I'll insert like pictures to all of them. I also really love the Telescopic. I love the Maybelline Falsies Mascara, like the L'Oreal Lash Paradise. I just have so many great affordable mascaras that I just don't see the need to spend like $30 on a mascara when I can get it at the drugstore. It's gonna perform just as good for a fraction of the cost. I guess I do like getting some lipsticks from the drugstore, but more than anything, mascaras is like the main thing that I go to the drugstore to get. What's your favorite drugstore dupe? So I'm gonna talk about two, because again, it's hard for me to pick one. The first one is, I already talked about it, the L'Oreal True Match Lumi Foundation. This reminds me so much of the Giorgio Armani Luminous Silk Foundation. I honestly think sometimes I prefer this one more Just like depends on what my skin is like, but I've used both. I love both, but to me, like when I have them both on, it's really hard to tell the difference. They have a very similar finish and a very similar wear time and very similar coverage. So this is one of my favorite dupes. Another dupe that I want to talk about is the e.l.f. Poreless Putty Primer. I'm not going to talk too much on this because I don't know personally if it's an exact dupe because I've never tried the dupe that it's supposed to be a dupe for. The dupe that it's supposed to be a dupe for is the Tatcha, I think it's the Silk Canvas Primer. I've never tried the Tatcha one, but if the Tatcha one's anything like this, I know I'd probably love it because I absolutely am obsessed with this primer. It's so beautiful. It fills in your skin. You get like a nice like hydrated finish though. It's not like one of those like drying pore filling primers. This is one of those items where like you need to try. You need this in your life. You don't know you need it till you start using it. Whenever I do my makeup without this, it just doesn't go on the same. So highly recommend. What's the best drugstore eyeshadow formula? The best drugstore eyeshadow formula, I'm only talking about drugstore. I'm not going to talk about like ColourPop or Morphe or products that can be sold at like Ulta and stuff like that, because to me that's not really considered drugstore. I'm talking about items that you can get from like CVS or anything like that. And so far the ones that I have loved the most from the drugstore are from Milani. So the Milani palettes are really good. I think they discontinued these guys, but they came out with new ones. These are really nice. The blendability on them are great. The shimmers are nice. The shimmers aren't the most pigmented, but they still go on like really pretty. You see? And then like the matte colors are really pretty. They're really smooth. They don't like skip on you. Let me swatch the darker brown for you guys so you guys can see. Like you can see how just like smooth they go. They don't get patchy. So yeah, Milani just really kills it when it comes to the eyeshadow formulas. Their single shadows are also great. This is an eyeshadow that I've had forever called Bella Copper. I don't know if they still make it, but this, talk about like shine. And this is an old shadow and it's still just like really pops. See the shine in there? Like it's just so pretty. It has like a pretty flecks of sparkle throughout it too. Milani knows what they're doing. They really do. Oh, I skipped a question. So this question says, what drugstore brand do you think is overpriced? So it's hard for me to answer that because a lot of the drugstore items that I see that are overpriced, I never purchase because for me, when I go to the drugstore, I want to find items that perform like high-end items but aren't a high-end price. And if I see a drugstore product that is a high-end price and it's at the drugstore, I'm not going to get it. I'm just going to get another high-end item that has like similar stuff. Does that make sense? So some of those brands that like I've never really tried or found interest in is like Pixie. I feel like that's the only one that has come to mind. Like a lot of their items will grab my attention. The prices are so close to being high end that I just never find it worth it personally. Maybe if I actually tried out some of their products, I would see the value in it and realize like, okay, they're priced like this for a reason and they performed well. After like a certain threshold, I think that you should just be sold in like Sephora or something like that. That's my personal opinion. I don't know. But I have heard that they had really good stuff. It's just that their prices are pretty high. Now back to the next question, since that was a question that I had skipped. But the next one is, what's the worst drugstore eyeshadow formula? So the thing is that when I shop at the drugstore, I don't really buy eyeshadows just because I normally know that drugstore eyeshadows aren't the best just from personal experience. I'll try brands where some of the eyeshadows are great, some of them are bad. For example, this is a palette I'm going to talk about later, the e.l.f. Retro Paradise. Like some of these eyeshadows in this palette are amazing and then some of them are just not so good. And I just feel like that's how it is when you get drugstore eyeshadows. The only one that I haven't run into that issue with was the Milani eyeshadow palette. Every single color in that palette were great. I don't know, it's really hard for me to say the worst eyeshadow formula. I really can't. I can't name it. I can name like palettes that I've tried that there have been bad eyeshadows in, like e.l.f. palettes, Maybelline palettes. So yeah, but I can't name like a particular brand because I don't think one particular brand just puts out trash eyeshadows. I just think that they have some eyeshadows that perform better than others. So the next question is a drugstore brand that you used to love but aren't crazy about anymore. So it took me a long time to like think about this question because I feel like I still love almost all of the drugstore brands that I used to use in the past. The only one that I can think of, and it's not even so much that I'm not crazy about them anymore, it's just that I don't know, I've forgotten to purchase from them recently, but they do still have really good products. The two brands that come to mind that I used to use all the time back in the day and I don't use as much anymore are LA Color, not LA Girl, LA Color. They're literally sold at like Dollar Tree too. I used to love their eyeshadow palettes. Like, I still want to do how I did my makeup in high school because I used those little $1 palettes like so much. They were my favorite, and from what I remember, they performed well, but I also wasn't as into makeup as I am now. But I do want to do a look on that. So LA Color, and then the next one, oh yeah, I used to always get their eyeliners too. I don't really use as much of their stuff anymore, but I kind of want to go back and try them and like see if I would like them now as much as I did then. And then Revlon. Revlon, I used to love their Color Stay foundation and like a couple of their powders, a couple of their lipsticks. And it's not that I don't love them anymore, it's just that I haven't used them in a while that I don't know if I still love them or not. So maybe I should do like a tutorial on those two brands. So the next question is a drugstore product you didn't expect to like, but totally wowed you. Right here, I did not expect to like, but they really did wow me. The first one is the e.l.f. Hydrating Camo Concealer, which I know a lot of people have mixed feelings on. This is said to be a dupe of the Tarte Shape Tape. It is a lot more matte than the Tarte Shape Tape, so whenever I use this, I use a really rich eye cream. But when I saw that this concealer was only $6, I was like, there's no way in heck that it's gonna perform well. Like this isn't gonna be good. Like it's a $6 concealer. And when I did an all-day wear test side by side with my Tarte Shape Tape, I was blown away. I was surprised by how much I really enjoyed this concealer for like such an amazing price. So this one I was completely taken aback by. Since I've tried this concealer, I've moved on to the e.l.f. Hydrating Camo Concealer. That is my favorite over this one. But to be honest, like 2 years ago, I would have never thought that I would be obsessed with e.l.f. concealers that were only $6. And then the next one is the Revlon Candid Concealer. When I first tried this concealer, it honestly didn't wow me at all. It wasn't until like we got into quarantine and everything and I started wearing more lightweight makeup that I really started appreciating this concealer because it just melts into the skin. It gives you so much more of a natural finish. It's just a really nice formula if you don't want like a super heavy cakey under eye. And then the last and final question is your favorite affordable palette right now, and it has to be the e.l.f. Retro Paradise palette. This palette is $14 and I just love all the variations of colors that you get. I love the transitions in it. Like this color is probably like one of my favorite type of transition colors. This one's really pretty. The shimmers in here are so pretty. But again, like I mentioned earlier, there are some colors in this palette that don't perform as well. Like the green, when I tried it, I didn't care for it as much. I haven't played with the purple yet, but if the purple is anything like the green, those were a little bit of a miss. But everything else in this palette I really enjoyed, and I really enjoyed how they put like a whole different color combination than like typical eyeshadow palettes. So I've been loving this, super summery and very affordable. And then the Milani one that I mentioned earlier will always be a favorite eyeshadow palette from the drugstore. It's just, to me, this is more like fall vibes, not summer vibes, since they're more of that like cool tone. Alright you guys, so that wraps it up for the drugstore tag video. Really hope that you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know in the comments down below some of the answers to these questions that like you have, like your favorite drugstore eyeshadow palette or any of that. I'll leave the questions down below if you guys want to answer them in the comments. I'd be so curious to know some of your drugstore favorites. Yeah, I really hope that you guys enjoyed. If you did like it, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up. Definitely don't forget to hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so you can be notified every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday when I upload. I love you all so much. I pray that you all stay safe, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!